Mochunkstv. For 2021, I decided to move back home as a result of a series of events that happened in 2020. And it was literally like, just like that, dream job was taken away from me. And she said, sometimes some things are temporary, not because they're not ours, but to show us what's possible. So again, like I said, like I'm a very big believer in like looking at patterns, and I noticed when we went to the studio, as great and amazing as it was, I just noticed like a dip in terms of engagement, growth. We weren't growing as quickly anymore. What if more, you just sat down for 3 to 6 months and focused on this channel and just be strategic? You have passions, you have skills, you have other talents. But what if you just focused on MCTV for a moment? I wonder what would happen. Okay, like I said, this week's episode is a really long one. I've got a lot to tell you guys, especially in this part of the show. I'm going to be giving you guys a life update. And I have my notes here so I don't like forget what I wanted to kind of talk about. Hi guys, welcome to the Mochunk Show and welcome to another installment of Chit Chat with Mo, where we have controversial debates, honest conversation, and so much more. So in this Chit Chat with Mo, we're going to be talking about 2020, the year that it was, and also like where I'm at right now. As you can see, things look a bit different, and I personally like it, and I hope you like it too. But there's reasons for why I'm in a completely different set. Yeah, guys, just in summary, and some of you might be surprised to find, unless on Clubhouse, you might have heard me also talk about this on Sincerely or What's podcast that I featured on. But basically, long and short of it is, for 2021, I decided to move back home as a result of a series of events that happened in 2020, and basically where I kind of want my life, the course of my life to go going forward. Where do I start? 2020 was a whirlwind of a year. I was heavily blessed by God, and I also experienced some losses, and that's the human experience, isn't it? Yin and yang, the good and the bad. That's the balance of life, that's the reality of life. And in case I keep looking that way, it's because I'm just monitoring the camera because I don't have a flip out screen. Just monitoring that it's still recording. So I apologize for that. So 2020 was an interesting year because at the start of the year, like I said in my video about, things losing everything in 2020, the beginning, January, my funds started to run out between that Jan to March, whereby I had an interesting year as a freelancer. I was freelancing as a videographer when I moved out, so I could sustain myself. Really and truly, what I really love doing is MCTV, but I also had a skill whereby I could create media content for other people. So I thought, why don't I do this as a service? It enables me to be a freelancer, to be able to do MCTV work as and when needed, and also move out. I can sustain myself. Freelance work was very interesting. Money would come in, but money would also be going. Like I said, was paying bills, all that jazz. But things started looking up November, December. Made a lot of money, but something was telling me don't get too happy, in a sense of there's a season where you're going to need some savings, and it made sense when Jan to March happened and much business wasn't really coming in. Something also told me get a job. I didn't listen to that thing. I thought, voice of the devil, I find you. But it made sense because I would have been on furlough and enjoying my life and been able to just do MCTV anyhow. I also didn't qualify for the government grant, so I decided to get a job. And this was where 2020 began to become just a whirlwind. My first job I quit because my boundaries were heavily violated. I found myself on like work calls at like 11 p.m. in the night. And this was something that was very glorified within that company. So much so that there was a group chat called the Espresso Group, meaning we don't sleep. But, I was like, I'm so sorry. I did not get this job so that I cannot sleep, because I can't be effective in everything that I do. So I just, politely said, it's been great, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go. And of course, I needed the money, but I also needed my peace and sanity more and my sleep more. So I moved on to another one that a friend actually introduced me to, a friend that needed someone that's good at social media, good at YouTube. And then recession hit. Not an inflation, the second depression of the recession happened. And the pay was really good, a really amazing job, really amazing work environment. Second recession happened and they had to let staff go, and me being new, I was one of the staff that they let go. So that was really sad. Started looking for another job, got a job as a teaching assistant, and the way that one ended was just, I was like, I'm laughing now because it's kind of funny. I was just like, what was all this nonsense? Like, what is really happening to me? Because that one was just really random. Basically, I must have accidentally like grazed a child. Not grazed, like just like I went past them and my hand just went on them like that, and I was like, oh, it's like no cut, nothing. It wasn't even that deep. I just said, oh, I'm so sorry, I scratched you. Like, I even said it jokingly, and we laughed about it. This kid now went to his friend, "Me scratched me," and I was like, oh, safeguarding. So I said, okay, let me mention this to the teacher. Teacher mentions it to the head teacher. Head teacher did not find it funny at all, even though we went to the sick bay. The staff nurse in the school she was laughing about it. She was like, oh, you're fine, like there's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with the child. But basically, I was told off about my nails, and I said, okay, it was about a week to half term that time. I was like, although there's nothing in your policy about it, but I understand, I will take them off during half term. And then the assistant head came and was like, no, you have to take them off before Monday. This was a Friday. And I knew I had a lot on. I was still trying to balance 9 to 5 with YouTube. Usually I edit on the Saturday or try to rest. I didn't really put a nail appointment or beauty appointment in there, and I was like, okay, I'll see what I can do. I'll email you by this evening. She's like, no, you have to make a decision now. And I'm very like, I can be really anxious sometimes, and I was just like shaking at that time because it's just like, you know, I just didn't know what to say. And then she was like, right, don't come in on Monday. I was just like, okay, maybe God doesn't want me to be there. But I remember like at that point just being to my partner like, is something wrong with me? Because first one didn't work because I left. Boundaries were being violated, and you guys know that's a big deal on this channel, and I had to practice what I preached. Second one, now recession happened, great working environment, it just didn't work out. Third one, now I accidentally scratched somebody, told on myself because of safeguarding, just trying to be an honest person that this has happened. It was confirmed by the nurse, nothing was wrong with the kid, nothing was wrong with the boy, and that just turned and escalated into something else. So I was like, okay, kind of what next? I didn't really apply for anything, but I was headhunted by a weight loss company. This was dream job. I could be flexible. I could continue doing MTTV freelance. If I say I'm at the studio, I don't have to be like on work obligations and all of that kind of stuff. So it was perfect. And I remember actually before I got it, I prayed to God. I said, I'm not going to look. It's just going to come to me. And the requirements, I was giving God requirements. I said, what I want is a job that is very high paid. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I said it's going to be very high paid, so much so that I had some saving goals. I will hit my savings target for the year. I said that I will be able to hire my PA. So when I'm at work, they're able to do work for me. I remember putting out an advert and being quite confident I could afford it now because I needed someone that was very skilled like myself in every area of skill that I have been able to have. So MCTV could run when I was at work. So that was specific as well. What else was it? Savings, my expenses, and I wouldn't be stressed. It would be a job that would be very flexible for me. It had all that and more. Just even just tell you how fantastic this job seemed at the time. for me, it was a 40k job, and I even had savings for the next year that I just knew it would be covered by then, and I could get on the property ladder. It's really hard as a freelancer. And then I was in that role for about a month and a half until someone within the company flagged something up on my social media. And, they did an investigative meeting with me, and it lasted a very short time. And it was literally like, just like that, dream job was taken away from me. And oh my goodness, I was so sad. Like, I couldn't. What really helped me get over that situation was, understanding that consequences, I mean, there's consequences for our actions, the things we say online, even if we've like grown up and changed our views. There's something quite important in terms of when you're going forward, remember to clear your history. That was my biggest lesson from that, because, when what they found was shown to me, I even couldn't believe that I'd put that on the internet. But it was there, and there was a consequence for that, and I lost the role. And I did mourn the job because I felt like it was perfect. And there is that scripture that says all things work together for the good of those that love God. But at the time, I just couldn't see the good. I was trying to understand, like, why would I pray for something would come and then it would go just like that. And again, those thoughts in my head about is something wrong with me? Like, shimmy, like, so many opportunities, but they're just not working out. As I was reflecting, I'm someone that reflects and thinks very deeply. I was reflecting on, the time that I had on the channel from March till about October, just before we went on the break, and how the channel was growing. It was exponential, guys. I'd never seen growth like that on my channel. Like, at least 1,000 subscribers every month. And there will be like at least one viral video each month. And I was like, more think about this. There's something here. Is it that you are really meant to be working right now, or that you're meant to focus on this thing that God has actually called you to? Have you not seen the success that's happened, especially in the times when you've been in between jobs and focused all your energy on MCTV? Have you not seen the growth? As I was really thinking like, God, I was like, should I try again? Should I get another job? Or should I focus on MCTV? Then the question of, is it that getting a job instead of MCTV or juggling is completely the wrong path for me, or the jobs I was getting were the wrong stops on the right path for me? I was also trying to be realistic as a creative. When you're not making that much money, you need a job in some cases to support you. So I was trying to be sensible, but it was almost like God was at that point was saying, "Who has to be sensible? Like, trust me, and do you understand? Do the senseless thing and see what I would do for you." So yeah, I was contemplating that for a long time, and was really just praying about it, even up until the start of this year. That was another reason why I wasn't keen on just turning on my camera and creating content. I really had to clarify a lot of things in my head, and I'm really glad that more clarity came. Like, as I put my camera down, a lot of people were just ringing me talking about content and focus, just sending me the same message in different sentences. But that's all by the way. But yeah, contemplated, okay, get another job, don't get another job, focus on content, juggle it all together. And also another thing that happened last year, amazing announcement we did on this channel with the studio that my amazing partner got me. I was going to leave this to the end, just recounting my blessings, but he is one of the biggest blessings that's happened to me in 2020. I thank God every day that I have a man that is thoughtful. He wants me to grow. He wants me to do better. He wants me to upgrade, in every area of my life, especially my career. And that was really important for me. And, he kindly gifted me the studio as a gift for my birthday. The studio space was a preliminary contract between my partner and the studio owner, and it was meant to be extended if the relationship worked out well to a year. So 3 months preliminary. If the relationship is good, mutually beneficial, we move on to a year. And I do remember, like, when I was told that, I was like, are you sure this thing's gonna work out? Like, he has all the faith in MCTV. Like, he believes in the vision so much, even more than me sometimes. And it's like, of course he's gonna want to extend it. You just go there and do your thing. So I went there, did my thing. And then it was, I would say, something that was very good for me, experience having the space. The theme song, I think, is the biggest blessing that came out of that studio partnership, because I remember before we went on the break in October and I was saying we're going to come back bigger, better. I didn't know what it was, though. I was just talking. And I had it in my mind that I was going to do the theme song, but I didn't know where. Guys, I kid you not. I was like, I had a strong feeling this theme song was going to be done. I was even thinking, should I do it in my room, my kitchen? I was renting a room. Like, how am I going to do it? And we got the perfect, when I say perfect space in this studio to do this theme song. So when I was actually doing the recap with you guys on my vlog, I was like, maybe, like, I do hear God saying that maybe it was just a theme song relationship, and then that was where it was meant to end. And there was just a bit of friction. I'll just be honest with you guys, there was a bit of friction at the studio. I think the biggest friction was our ideas of what quality looks like. The Mochunk show, I've envisioned it to be very like homely vibe. Kind of like now you can see like the furniture behind me. I look like I'm at home, I look comfortable. Whereas at the studio, we're getting this like cold vibe. And I was trying, I'd buy some furniture, stuff, try to dress it up nicely. But we weren't really, we weren't hitting it. Like the set, that wasn't even an issue for me. The main thing was for me, I like clear, I like high quality video. And I wasn't getting that. And I mentioned it. I was trying to mention it very kindly, what can we do to improve this? And, my concerns were basically dismissed. Dismissed. I felt very gaslighted. That famous Twitter word, was it gaslit? I felt very gaslit in terms of my concerns about the quality, the direction the quality of the show was going in. Like I said in that vlog, I did see views dipping. I did see engagement dipping. I think the biggest one that was like, yikes, 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 was that we worked with a really cool brand, Nordgreen, a watch brand. And we filmed the intro for that the week before so that they can approve it. My videos are quite like fast paced. So I filmed the intro so that they can approve it. And then the next week, I got a call from my producer saying, can't bring down the couch, it's too much work. And it was just like, but continuity. We filmed the intro last week. We're gonna have to use the same. It was a back and forth, like literal back and forth. And I was like, oh gosh, this is just so stressful. And it was just weird things like that. There was a time, where, what was it that that whole shoot didn't work out, so I said let's try and reshoot. And I wanted to come in on a Sunday to reshoot it. He said, oh, we're at full capacity at the studio, and I was like, okay, let me go grab my tree so that I can at least film at home. He said, oh, no one's at the studio. So I was like, you are full capacity at the studio, but no one's there, so I can't pick up my stuff. So I was like, okay. And when I noticed that, things that I would flag up wouldn't be taken seriously, or there wouldn't be an improvement, I said, okay, what about if my partner takes over the producing of the show and we just use it as a space only contract? And I don't think he liked that at all. I don't think he liked that because, like, he said, okay, you can use things like the studio lights, da 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 da. And then one day we came in and he had set up upstairs for another shoot using the lights that we were meant to use. The shoot just before Christmas was cancelled last minute. It was a lot, to the point where I had to confront him, and I was like, the way you're acting, it's kind of like, when you're in a relationship with somebody and the person doesn't want to end it, but they want to frustrate you so that you end it. And I was like, if you don't want me here, please just say. My partner went to pick up my stuff so I could film over the Christmas holidays, and he now was showing him pictures he had taken of when we'd been there, apparently, and he said, oh, you guys left this here, just making excuses, not actually addressing the things that I was concerned about. And then he said, oh, I would like to terminate the contract early. I was like, thank you, because me, Seth, I was maybe trying to be patient for the 3 months to hold out, to also honor my partner because he was involved in this agreement. He had given me this as a gift and I was just trying to see the best in it all the time. So I was trying to be very careful with how I navigated mentioning my concerns, but also showing my appreciation for this amazing thing that I was given. So at that point, we were both relieved. We're just like, okay, yeah, we were thinking after the 3 months. I was actively looking for like podcast studios in the area that I was living. The girl that I hired to be PA was also looking for me. That's how serious we were about other spaces. So like, it was kind of like, okay, you were finally honest about the whole thing. And I don't think he's a horrible person. I just think he maybe took on more than he could actually do. Because if you guys see in the vlog, like I was promised a lot, guys. I was promised a downstairs space. I was promised a set. And I remember we did a test shoot just to see how everything would look. Test shoot perfect. And then I was moved into another space when it was actually time to start the show. I didn't complain. I didn't say anything. I didn't really mind where we shot, really. I was just concerned about the quality of the video, the audio, and those things weren't really fixed. But anyway, I've kind of rambled on a lot about this, but oh, guys, as I'm editing, I remembered that, you know, at one point when I really realized that me and this producer couldn't really like go further or that we wouldn't last, was when he said to me after I'd voiced a concern about one of our videos that, oh, maybe you're more of a Britney rather than Whitney. And I, you know, asked like, what does that mean? He said, okay, well, Britney, she didn't have much talent and she needed all the pizzazz to make her performances good. Whereas Whitney Houston just needed a mic and she would wow the crowd. Maybe that's why, you know, content isn't popping for you right now. And I was like, hey. So again, like I said, like I'm a very big believer in like looking at patterns. And I noticed when we went to the studio, as great and amazing as it was, I just noticed like a dip in terms of engagement, growth. We weren't growing as quickly anymore. And I was really like, okay, is it that I want to keep holding on to this thing because there was this grand announcement and because it's a whole studio, whilst actually the quality of my work is depreciating? And I remember actually speaking to Minnie, the chef that you saw on our Christmas special, about it. And she was like, Mo, don't hold on to it just because there was this, you know, we've got a studio, my partner got me a studio. Don't hold on to it at the detriment of where you see this channel actually going. And that was what kind of just gave me the grace to like, you know, let it go. Even if, you know, there's been like a grand announcement. And sometimes we hold on to things because, you know, we've told the whole world. I think life is all about perspective. As much as some of these things were temporary, like the dream job, the studio, they still happened. And it's so funny because I remember I was having a conversation with my friend, and she was saying, we're just talking about sometimes some things are temporary. And she said something so profound that I didn't know that I was going to need soon. And she said, sometimes some things are temporary, not because they're not ours, but to show us what's possible. And that really, like, I remember remembering it when the job went, and it was like, okay, what was God trying to show me in terms of what's possible? I realized, you know, finances, it's really possible for you, Mo. Doing really well in your finances, it's possible. The studio dream, it's still possible. It doesn't mean because it hasn't worked out with this particular one that it's never going to work out, you know. It still happened as well. Like when I count my blessings of 2020, I list these things on there because they still happened. Even though they're no longer mine, the moment that they were, I enjoyed them thoroughly. I felt super blessed, and I still feel super blessed that God would choose me to, you know, experience that. Yeah, just to do my recap of 2020 in terms of my blessings, my amazing partner. Like God really blessed me with him. He is my better half. He's amazing. Yeah, I could sit here and talk about him all day, but yeah, no, he is one of my biggest, I think, top blessing of 2020. I hit my savings target because of the job roles that I did have, even though I was changing job, like I was changing pants, but I did hit my savings target. When I tell you 2019, I ended up in the minus. For me to end up with my savings target in 2020, Chile, that was definitely number 2 blessing. Growth on my channel that March to October, we did good. Okay, we did really, really good. I'm so proud of myself for finding my voice and realizing that I am the source that makes MCTV tick. And you guys allow me to explore who I am for real. And I'm really super grateful for that. Boundaries as well, enforcing my boundaries. I was really proud of myself for becoming a better person in that regard. And I'm really looking forward to 2021. Apart from everything that's happened, why the space looks different. Like I mentioned at the start, I moved back home. And that was because, again, with the patterns that I was noticing that, each time these things would be taken away from me, I would concentrate on my channel a lot more and I would see growth. And I wondered, like, what if more you just sat down for 3 to 6 months and focus on this channel and just be strategic. You have passions, you have skills, you have other talents. But what if you just focused on MTTV for a moment? I wonder what would happen. And here we are. I decided, okay, I do make money as a freelancer, but not enough to sustain me and save. And I do have a savings target for this year. So I decided to swallow my pride, dismiss my comfort for a year or so. Less than a year, to be honest. Dismiss my comfort for and my independence for a bit, so that I can focus on MCTV without being worried about, okay, if freelance work doesn't bring me enough this month, how am I going to pay my bills? You don't hit savings targets that way. So I decided to come home, which was very nerve-wracking for me because, there were reasons why I left in the first place. You guys saw in my video why I left my parents' house, and being worried that I would come back to meet those same situations. But actually, luckily, it's been more pleasant than I anticipated, genuinely. I think me going away was good for both parties. Because I've definitely seen some changes. And apart from hoping that everything was going to be fine and dandy, I also prayed that God would change me and make me a bit more tolerant when things aren't so pleasant. And so far, that's been helping both sides. What would you guys do if you were in these situations and you were basically getting no's and rejections when you were trying your hardest? Would you switch lanes and try to find a different path, or go through the path that is directly aligned to God's will for your life? What would you do if you were me? Would you move back home as a creative, swallow your pride, and do what you need to do to make your dreams come true? Or would you still try to find another job so you can juggle building whilst also following your dreams? You guys let me know in the comment section down below. And that's all I really have for you guys today. Make sure that's video if you liked it. Do share with your friends and also subscribe to this channel for more. Until next time, guys, peace and love. Peace and chunks.